Yeah, I think we're coming together a little bit. I thought our week was good. Busy. You got essentially 3 games: Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, and so I was proud. Body wise, we got through the physicality part of it, fatigue, all that stuff, and played pretty well. Defensively is my most proud part of this whole thing is that we're able to hold our last 3 opponents in the 50s, and that's a recipe for winning. So really excited for the group, and then just trying to finish strong here. We got our bye week, so we'll use that to clean some stuff up here beginning of the week before we start getting ready for app. So excited.
You know, I heard you say in your pregame interview on the radio that you're expecting double teams on Peyton and maybe try to do some different things those rough. Weren't sure kind of what you were going to do to respond to that, and then obviously Bree has the game that she does.
Yeah.
What does it say about the team, or how confident does it make you going forward that you really can't just have a scout
Yeah.
that looks at Peyton and Ashanti and if they don't score, they're going to win.
Right. No, it's nice, and I think Bree and I had some good conversations. I didn't think she didn't think she was shooting the ball well. I think UMass she was 2 for 11. App she was 2 for 6, I believe. So she was kind of being hard on herself. But we don't have time for that right now, right? It's you're at the end of the year, so I was really glad. After kind of what we talked about, she was able to get going. I did not expect a 30-piece. That was awesome. But I think even the way she got it right was her own style. I didn't think she pushed. I didn't think she forced shots. Like it came to her. And I think if you look at the tear right of the last 5 games with Peyton. It's one of the things we talked about. Bree and I talked about. P shooting 50%, 46 from the 3. So people got to be paying attention to it, right? And now, the idea is right. You're trying to play your best basketball where everybody's playing well at the right time, and I think for Bree that's a step forward. And I'm going to give her a speech today. Never too high, never too low. All right, but. I was elated for her after kind of talking about how she felt coming off of the UMass and App game. But no, that's the idea, right? Is that Zakaya's had games. She had a game this year in the 20s, right? Bree's had now 30-piece, right? Which I believe, John, is the highest of anybody on our team this year, right? I know P and Barnes both had a 29er, but that's a good. It's a good thing and a good way to be for us is that you got to at least be on guard for it.
Yeah, and Grace's field goal percentage here recently is just
crazy.
Yeah, but she's not necessarily hitting any. You expect almost every shot she takes to go in because of the shots she's taking. I guess just elaborate on that. Her ability to. I guess her shot selection and her ability to get herself in position to take shots she's going to make.
It's crazy, right? I don't, in all my time, I don't think I've ever seen, this long of a, I don't know. I don't know what you'd call it, right? I don't want to say tear because it's not like a tear, right? She's not shooting the most shots on the team, but it seems like everything's going in. And I think I really do. And I said this to you guys the last time we were here. I think she's really realizing how good she can be. And she gets herself into spots too. There's a clip we just watched. She takes off in transition. And it's like, that's 6-8 points a game of layups, right? And it's putting the other big under so much pressure. So I think her trust is growing in herself. I think our team's trust is growing in her. We were just laughing. Zakaya threw a no-look pass, and she caught it and finished it, and we were all like, "That would have hit me in the face," because it was such a great no-look quick pass. We wouldn't have been ready for it, but right, I think that chemistry's being built a little bit, where she knows Z's going to find her. Z knows what she's looking for, And again, you've got 4 right studs around her where maybe you're distracted, right? Where's Peyton McDaniel? Where's Bree Robinson driving this way, right? So I think that's helping her too. But it's crazy what she's doing. It's crazy because I agree with you. When she misses, it's like, wait, what? How? You never miss that. So you just got to keep trending north. And I know you're going to be like, well, how much better can it get? We'll see. I hope anyway. But I'm proud of what she's doing. What she got from the free throw line? Yeah, 3 for 5. Okay, fine. I'll give it to her. Because I was going to say she's usually got to pick that part up, but I think it's one of the more rare things I've seen as a coach.
And how much of her personality kind of plays into that? Where we've talked about maybe she wasn't super confident coming in, or she's getting more comfortable, but she also doesn't seem like somebody who's gonna be like, well, I've made 5 in a row. It's time for like a heat check type of shot. Like,
no, it's true. I give her a bunch of flack because it's like you got to celebrate somehow, right? You got to have you want to have some sort of celebration. You want to put on the jacket. You want to whatever. Susha had the poor flex job. She's a bad flexer, but she's got to get you know what I mean. That's the next level for her. As I think really settling into being good and being successful. But I'm really proud of her and what she's done. And again, I just think her personality is not quiet, right? But it's a quiet personality. It's not some big boisterous thing. And we'd be foolish not to look for ways to get her the ball more, right? And not overforce it to her, but man, if we can get her another opportunity, you're talking about a kid that's shooting 85% in their last 5 games. That's incredible. So. Maybe a couple more opportunities wouldn't be such a bad thing for her.
We talk a lot about the kids that are scoring a lot, but Zakai's not scoring as much as maybe she did to start conference play. But how has she been able to run the offense, and do you like her consistency right now?
Yeah, I think she's really settling into exactly what and I say we, me and her want it to look like, which is we're chasing a perfect game with her, right? And the perfect game is, you go 10 for 12 from the field, right? You have 10 assists, and I'll give her 2 turnovers. The way she plays, there's like a Brett Favre to it, where I don't expect her to have 0 turnovers with the risks she takes. And how much ball handling we're asking her to do. So that to me is kind of like chasing that perfect game. Is like the perfect game isn't just having 25 points, right? The perfect game isn't just having 12 assists and no turnovers. It's a blend of both. And she has to be and is a scoring threat for us. But efficiently. And we're asking everybody to be efficient. I think you look at her she's shooting 50% from 3 the last 5 games. Those are good shots, right? Good choices. And that's her whole job, man, is being a decision maker, right? And that's making good decisions, timely decisions, finding Peyton and helping Peyton out, right? Finding Bree she gets Bree on a back door for her 30th point, dropping Grace off, knowing when we need to feed Barnes, and then knowing when it's time, you got to step up, knock it down too, right? But she is so valuable to us. And I don't know if you'd say most, right? I think, I don't know if I could do that to anybody right now, but she's so valuable, irreplaceable for us. And I know, people can pick at her as far as assisted turnover, stuff like that. Just the way she plays, man, it's like you're making that no-look pass that everybody loves. Sometimes that thing is going to go out of bounds or hit somebody on their hands, right? And I'm okay with those risks because I think it's what makes her great. Now I'll say her and Bree both have really, really turned up defensively the last couple of games and causing some other people's guards to have a really tough time. UMass, I thought we did a really good job with Yamani McHale, who's averaging 18 a game coming into that, right? I thought they did a really good job with the app players. And then yesterday, you talking about Buford and Fields didn't get what they usually get, right? And so, that's kind of an unseen thing, right? where the both of them have decided to turn up, and it doesn't always translate in steals, but it's a disturbance, right? And it disturbs their offense, it disturbs their rhythm, and I thought Z and Bree both, their efforts defensively have been really, really crucial for us in holding people in the 50s.
Stick with that. You've held 5 of your last 6 opponents in the 50s. Is there something different that's happening now with your defense as opposed to maybe earlier in the year? You've been a solid defensive team all year long, but is there something different now, or is there something more consistent now that's happening with your team?
I don't know. I would say the buy-in, but I don't know if I would say there was a lack of buy-in earlier. I just think, I don't know. After Arc State, I think this team really has kind of decided, like, okay, we're not playing around anymore, right? And what we've really tried to focus on, and we're not getting any help right now, but we're really trying to focus on is just controlling what we can control and come out here, defend, go 1-0, and let some of these other teams fall down to where we stand in the standings, right? And it's the only thing you can control. Now, it just seems like it won't. No one's dropping below us just yet, but Georgia Southern still got to play Marshall twice, and so Arc State's got to play Troy one more time. But I think maybe that, right? It's just really focusing on what you can control, and your defensive effort you can't control. And I think our staff, our assistants have done a really good job with the themes of each game or what we're really going to focus on, and if that's communicated properly from us and they have a focal point and they're able to execute that, I think that grows in belief of, hey, we're telling you guys the right things, it's working, right? And let's keep doing this. But we've taken it. They've taken it very, very seriously, the defensive end, and understanding how important that is. And the App game was a perfect example because couldn't make anything. I couldn't tell you the last time we had 17 points in a half. And that was with a buzzer beater from Bree after P fell down and threw it up to her. So it's like I couldn't remember that the time we couldn't score, but it's like keep defending. It keeps you in the game. Now all of a sudden we get an 8-0, 10-0 run and we're back, right? And so I think that was a really good example for us as to why playing defense like that and being able to execute that game plan is so important, because there's going to be nights where you don't, like ODU, we played great, right? You get 87, that's all good. But you got to win at 60. You got to win at 65. And so I don't know the answer to your original question, but I hope it's just a continued buy-in, and it's just getting more and more solid as we go.
Obviously down 10 late in the third at App, and even Southern Miss, they came back, and it was a different game third quarter. You had some struggles on the road to kind of finish games. Do you have to say much to this group, or have they kind of matured? You have great leaders on this team. Do you have to say much to them in these moments, or have they kind of figured this out?
I don't say more. I don't say more. I say less than I would have in November, December, right? I think that's what you would all want from your team in late February, is that you're coaching less, right? Their huddles have been better and better and better. They're huddling almost every time, a media timeout or quarter. They're huddling before they get to us, the 5 that are on the floor. But we were intentional about that, about what to say in huddles and what's going on in the game. I think that helps the awareness, right? We practiced. I made them do it one time in the film. They love me for it. But no, I think that's the idea, is that we're saying it, and my job is to kind of reiterate. I think now, in App it was like, look, stay with it, You've defended, you kept it. We're gonna pop here soon, and so that's why I was really glad to not make that a thing too early. Oh man, we just can't get it right. No, we can. It's like. The Marshall game was crazy. We gave that one away, right? The Georgia State one was even crazier. We gave that away. Georgia Southern beat us, right? And Arc beat us. But those 2 games, it's like terrorizing me now, because you're looking at it and you should be sitting at a 2-loss situation here. It'd be right in the mix. But I just want us. It's all good with me as long as we're playing our best basketball in about a month, less than a month. I'm good with it. And I think anything can happen in that scenario. But no, having a 6th-year senior in Peyton, a leader, right? Having a 5th-year senior in Barnes, leader, right, and having Bree and Z, ready to take that over and leading right now, but ready to take that over it's a really strong group of leaders, which it makes my job easier.
And then obviously no midweek this week. Does it come at a good time with only 3 games left?
I think, and now it's all decision time for head coach to figure out what we're going to do. Is it more rest? Is it, one of my ideas is you're not going to, the way that tournament is set up, you're not going to have practice time for a Troy, right, or an Ark State, because you're assuming you're not going to play them in the first game, right? They press. Let's say a Marshall. You can play Marshall. You could play Marshall in the first game, but what do we need to cover now with that opportunity of time, right? Can we get pressed for a day? Can we work on our zone that we haven't worked on enough? That it's ready to go when. You're staring a situation in the face. Like, you could have to win 4 games in a row. So you're going to need a zone that you're comfortable with. I don't think you can defend the way we want to defend for 4 straight games when somebody's sitting on one game played. So those are the things that are going through my mind. But rest is a factor too, and I think it is a good time for that. I think you can take a day or two, and that little ankle injury that's bothering you, that little thumb injury that's bothering you, that can be washed away, and you could start fresh with essentially a 3-game week, right? You go Saturday, Wednesday, Friday, and then it's go time. So I think it's a good time, but I've never had to my knowledge, I've never had a bye week before. It's like, so I'll tell you on Saturday if we did it right or not.
Just to piggyback on kind of the scoring side, and in terms of scoring depth, where does this team kind of stand compared to teams in the past, and just a sense of having players that could have that 20-plus game kind of on any given notice?
Good question. I think we've had some similar teams. I think I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I think we've had some similar teams in general where like you used last year's team, like Rowe, Peyton, Susha. But I didn't think Bree last year was capable of 30, right? I didn't think Zakiah last year was capable of 25. But I think having a team with 3 or 4 that could, we've had that. But, I don't know. I think we've put a lot on those 4 the whole year, and they really have come through for us in a lot of ways. But I don't know the exact answer on that. I don't know if you'd have like 4 kids. I don't know if you could have 4. I'm trying to think of the Smalls team. We had that team, Smalls, Lexi, and Kelly Kashuda, that all had multiple games with high 20s. But I don't know if there was a 4th. So I don't know about that one, Connor. That's a good question.
And just a little bit broader picture, typically at this time of the year where the net starts getting brought up a little more. I know this year NCAA is adding the WOB, the wins against bubble. Just curious your thoughts about it. Is that a fair thing to be able to add into that consideration?
They need as much consideration as they can get. I think that's a really tough metric. I know Tony Bazell at Seton Hall is trying to fix it actively. It's so hard. It's so hard. And it really just favors the P4. So I think another metric like that is a good thing. And, I've been impressed with the way our net is. I don't know what we are today. Did anybody, you look it up? 50? If it's 50, we're making moves, man. When I looked before ODU, it was 54. We'd gone from 52 to 54. But it's just hard with the quad games and how it's set up. It's so hard to get a quad 1 win and a quad 2 win. So everything ends up being a quad 4. But I think that's a good thing for anybody who is like us, that it can help in the end. It's crazy. We're sitting here in 5th place with a net of anywhere in the 50s is insane to me. But can't control that. Can't control. So we'll just go out there and try to find a way to beat App State.
John, you were talking about the huddles getting better. as an experienced coach and working with Kenny, as his assistant there, were there things that were sort of the intangibles that you waited to see teams do kind of on their own? You have an indirect influence on them, but in watching how they interact with one another, are there things that you want to see happen that gives you this indication that, okay, they're moving in the direction that this team needs to be?
Yeah, I think there's always that, right? I think each team has to become its own, right? And I think coming up with a handshake or a pregame routine is like, you always want that to be organic, right? And use the Oakland A's, right? The Bash brothers, they were like doing the forearm thing. That was their thing, right? The year we won it, and I use this almost every year, but I was watching a BYU play Syracuse in a tropical tournament, right? And they get fouled. They're down one. They get fouled, and they huddled. And I mean, their cheeks are touching. They were that close. And I showed that to Maddie Green and Kiki Jefferson's team, and I paused it and I said, "Does this make you guys uncomfortable?" And they were like, "Yeah." So they didn't want to get that close, right? But the year we won, I got a picture in my office. We're at Texas State, and we're up 3, up 4, and Kiki get fouled, and they're huddling that close. And so I showed that to them that year, and it's in my office for that. But that's not this particular team, right? This team has come up with their own way of loving each other and getting together and stuff like that. And so to your point, it's different for everyone, and you don't want it. You can't script it. You can't make it, right? And that's I've kind of made that mistake in the past because you want them to come together. Like there was one team, we didn't have cell phones at dinners on the road, and it was like making them interact. In my experience, it doesn't end up being great. It's forced, and so this particular team, like, you notice, right? And we just did a 4-game road trip, right? 4 games in a row on the road. And you can hear them more on the bus, and that's a little thing, but you can hear them interacting more. You can hear different people laughing with people that they didn't start the year laughing with. And I think that stuff, that's what you want, is like organically for them to come together, care about each other. And I think sometimes, most of the time, the stats will follow that.
Can you plant the seeds on that and just kind of see what Mother Nature takes care of there?
Yeah, no, and I think you have to, right? And I think you're always intentional about bringing them together and coming together, and you try to do that all the time. But man, you cannot force it. You cannot force it. And that's where I do think it's the leaders, right, that set the tone for that and what's important. And again, it's not like, hey, you guys all got to hang out tomorrow night at 7. Like, yeah, it's only going to take you so far. And so that's what, and it might not even be the leaders. It might be Bree McLeod, right, that gets people together because she wants to, right? And I think that's more of what this is. But I think the more you talk about it in underlying ways, the better. But it is, man. You got to have your own thing, and I think the better, more confident you are. The Bash brothers, right? That was their thing, man, and it worked for them. But each team just got to take that on their own way.
This week is Manager Appreciation Week.
Oh.
Can you talk about your time as a manager and then how impactful your crew is this year?
Wow, man, I didn't know that. That's a thing. They didn't have that when I was a manager. No, just.
It was organic.
Yeah. No, look, they're unseen, man. They're unseen and underappreciated. And I think it's a really, being a manager is a really cool opportunity because not everybody has the ability to play Division I basketball, right? I learned really quickly. It was one pickup game with David Fanning as a freshman, and it was like, nope, I can't play with this guy. But it gave me a huge opportunity to do what I'm doing now. And that's what I think the beauty of that experience is that, I didn't spend my time in the academic realm. I was up at the office every day for hours with Ben D'Alessandro and Kenny Brooks, Tom Saboro, but I think it's a huge opportunity. So that one, and then our crew is awesome. And, man, it's everything. It's I'm Khalil McKenzie. I'm going to bed. I grab my 2 waters. I'm going to bed. They're in the elevator going down to tape the court in the ballroom because that's how we're going to do walkthrough the next day, right? And it's just, no one notices unless it's not done. And that's what a lot of their jobs are. It's like no one notices unless it's not done. And so, I was joking with them. I was like, you got to do laundry. And they're like, not on this trip. And we were sharing some laundry stories. I've had some funny ones. But no, you couldn't operate your program without them. And so I am really thankful. We've got a crew of them. We've got some that travel. And then we've got, I don't know, probably 10 more that come to practice in varying ways. So, shout out to them. I don't know. Thanks, John. Manager Appreciation Week. Maybe I'll get them something.